I want to talk about Japan, and not the Japan that's sold to us. The cute anime, the cherry blossoms, the polite bowing. We need to talk about the machine, the beast. I'm just going to say it loud and clear. Japan is the Israel of Asia. And I'm not throwing shade at the Japanese people or the citizens or the regular folks. I love the culture. I love the food, the history, the discipline. But I'm talking about the regime, the elite, the people pulling the strings. And I'm talking about the history books that got scrubbed clean, the lies that were told, and all the atrocities that got swept under the rug like they never happened. Because when you look at it, the parallels are fucking scary. Both have this deep-seated sense of being a chosen people, a victim that had to fight for survival, right? But then they use that survival instinct to dominate and control their neighbors. Both have a government that knows how to spin a narrative. Both have a history of brutal expansionism that was justified as liberation or protecting the motherland. But I gotta keep it a bean about what Japan did. The history books in Japan don't tell you about the 3 alls policy. Kill all, burn all, loot all. They don't tell you about Unit 731, where they performed live dissections on people, tested chemical weapons on civilians, and froze people to death just to see how long it would take. They don't tell you about the Nanking Massacre, where they literally raped and slaughtered hundreds of thousands of people, men, women, children, turning the city into a living hell. They don't tell you about the comfort of women, thousands of women, young girls, forced into sexual slavery, taken from Korea, China, the Philippines, Indonesia, kept in comfort stations, and raped day after day until their bodies gave out. They don't tell you about the forced labor, millions of people from across Asia put to work in mines and factories under brutal conditions, many of whom died. Their lives were worth nothing to the Japanese war machine. And what do they get in return? They get called hardworking, peace-loving, economically successful. They get to be the good guys in the narrative. They get to sell their cars and electronics to the very people they destroyed, and nobody bats an eye. They get to play the victim of the atomic bombs, which was a horrific tragedy, don't get me wrong. But they use that to erase the decades of horror they inflicted on everybody else. It's a masterclass in propaganda, and the world bought it. And the root of the problem is a lack of accountability. It's a refusal to face the ugly parts of history. It's a collective amnesia. The Japanese elite built their prosperity on the backs of other Asians, and they've never fully paid for it. They've never fully apologized in a way that feels real. It's always a regrettable incident or a moment of reflection, but the actions don't match the words. They visit shrines that honor war criminals. They rewrite textbooks to downplay their aggression. They silence the voices of the survivors who dare to speak out. And y'all want to know something crazy? After World War II, who got rebuilt? Who got a blank check? Japan. The United States, in its infinite wisdom, decided to rebuild its former enemy, pouring billions into the Japanese economy, turning them into an economic powerhouse. They gave the Japanese citizens before they gave the slave descendants and the indigenous people their reparations, after slavery and the genocides. Japan got infrastructure, they got technology, they got a leg up on the entire world, all on the dime of the very nation that defeated them. They got reparations from their conqueror. Now let's look at Vietnam. What did Vietnam get after the United States dropped more bombs on them than all sides combined in World War II? What did they get after Agent Orange poisoned their land and their people for generations? What did they get after millions of their civilians were killed? Fucking nothing. They got a trade embargo. They got isolation. They got treated like a pariah state for daring to win a war against a global superpower. That's what the hypocrisy is. You reward the aggressor who attacked you and punish the victim who dared to resist you. That's the world we live in. A world built on double standards and selective memory. That's what I want to talk about for this video. I want to talk about all the shit that gets glossed over because it doesn't fit the technological genius narrative. They talk about the greater East Asia co-prosperity sphere like it was some noble mission, but it was just a fancy name for a brutal colonial empire. They stripped Korea of its language, its culture, its very identity, forcing people to take Japanese names and bow to their emperor. They plundered Manchuria, ripping out its coal and steel, its resources to fuel their own war machine, leaving the land barren and the people starving. They looted so many temples and palaces across Asia, stealing priceless artifacts, gold, wealth, and cultural treasures that are still sitting in Japanese museums or private collections today. Stolen wealth that helped build their post-war economy. They implemented a system of absolute control, treating their neighbors as subhumans, as nothing more than resources to be exploited. And ladies and gentlemen, this was not just a war, this was a systematic dismantling of entire civilizations for their own benefit. And the most fucked up part to me is that a lot of that shiny futuristic Japan that you see today, the bullet trains, the advanced electronics, the booming post-war economy, all of that shit was not built on their own innovation. It was built on stolen wealth. It was built on the resources they ripped from the ground in Korea, China, the Philippines. It was built on the gold they looted from conquered nations. It was built on the free labor they forced upon millions. They robbed Asia blind. And then they used that stolen capital to rebuild themselves into a technological powerhouse. And then they had the goddamn nerve to sell themselves to the world as self-made geniuses. It's the ultimate lie. A nation built on a foundation of theft, and they pretend they earned it all through hard work and ingenuity. Japan, you have to face the truth. Y'all have to stop hiding behind the nice guy mask. You have to acknowledge the pain. You have to stop teaching a sanitized version of history in your schools. You need to have these uncomfortable conversations. You have to demand genuine reparations, not just words or a bow, actual change, actual money, actual resources for the descendants of the people you destroyed. You have to tear down the shrines that honor war criminals and replace them with monuments to the victims. You have to make the truth of your past a part of your national identity, not something to be ashamed of or hidden away. I'm not making this video to send hate to Japan. This whole video is about justice and healing. Until you own your full history, you can't own your future. Asia is gonna remain divided. You're gonna remain hated. Everyone in Asia is gonna just keep attacking you guys, and you guys are gonna stay divided. So stop lying. Be real. Anybody from Asia watching this video that suffered, listen, I get it. That's the whole reason I wanted to shed light during this video, because I see y'all, I hear y'all, I genuinely believe your pain and your anger is valid and justified. And you guys don't have to forgive if you don't want to. You don't have to move on if you're not ready. But you do need to know that, bro, it's okay. It's okay to be angry. You're not crazy. All that shit that happened was real. The history is real. The theft is real. The trauma is real. Stop carrying that weight in silence. Your stories need to be told. Your voices need to be heard. The world needs to listen. And to the Japanese people, I love you guys too, but you need to look in the mirror. Look at your history. Look at what your country did. Stop pretending it didn't happen. Own it. Fix it. Mind you, I'm not even Asian, but once you own it and fix it, all of you can move forward together as one continent, as one people, not as victims and oppressors, because the truth will set you guys free. But first, you have to be brave enough to hear it. And I think you guys need to start listening.